another level.
Hi, we're doing it. Oh my God. Okay, this has just been, I have been like waiting to meet you because every time I see you, I'm like, those are the bits that I do just with my friends privately, like at Air One. Or
I love
like
that.
I literally, so when I saw you, I was like, oh my God, you're me.
We saw each other at Air One.
Oh, we literally did.
Yeah.
And then in honor of your viral TikTok that I like post all the time, I just bought a ton of just Air One. You know, it's like $1,000. Oh my God, I'm taking it.
$20. Taking it, yeah. Almond butter, $1,000. Taking it.
So ridiculous.
And just being idiots. Well, yeah, and we went to that to film that and had we did not plan that. It was just like, that's how every video
so
I
literally,
do is on
oh
the
my
fly.
God. So did you, so that was literally on the fly.
It was in the moment. It started with, hey, Vincent, which is the friend that I film with. I was like, can you just film me trying to get through these aisles? And then it started there. And then he's like, okay, get me. And then that's like how it usually is. It's just like in the moment, capture that energy. And then things just got more and more ridiculous. And then we've done a few more since then. And we should be doing a lot more, in my opinion. Yeah. Because people love them. Because it's so relatable. Especially if you've been to Air One.
Yeah, I feel like you're doing bits that are the inside of my head constantly.
Good.
So, but also what I was like talking about is this whole idea of perfection. So I feel like I'm very similar to you in terms of like comedy and absurdity. I feel like I want to get into like your childhood and what made you a comedian because I feel like pain and trauma is always gotta make mom happy.
Yes.
Is that
I was bullied. I moved schools. I didn't know anyone. So I went from being like a totally normal, energetic leader to shut down, isolated, alone, made fun of, had to defend myself. I guess I'll just make people laugh and distract from how I really feel, which is incredibly sad and lonely.
I know.
I don't feel like that anymore. But those defense mechanisms stick over time and they become a blessing. And I remember I had a therapist one time say, interesting that you were bullied and laughed at and became a comedian so that you can control when you're laughed at. And I was like, this was like 15 years ago. I was like, oh my God, that's exactly. I don't want you to laugh at me without me I will laugh at myself first before anyone can do it. Like I know that I'm ridiculous. So like, you're not going to just laugh at me without me knowing or whatever, my consent.
You literally Eminem'd yourself.
Yeah.
Like in the 8 Mile, like I am this and I am that. And
that's the way to do it though, right? Because then you get your power back. And,
totally.
Yeah.
So,
but
okay.
The truth of me is really like emotional and like.
No, I know.
Like
and
just so sensitive.
You started a podcast. And so I'm seeing, this was kind of going on a deep dive of you. So like before, having you on here, because I love all your videos and I repost them all the time because I relate to them so much. But what was really interesting was then seeing your podcast and being like healing and, manifest.
Were you like, what?
No, it made sense because I feel like I very much because I also relate to that. So I feel like kind of the genesis of this podcast, Great Ones, is kind of dissecting and going in like what makes someone great, but also like that is involving how to manifest and, how like what are the patterns of people who, are consistently doing great things in their lives, whether it's like having great relationships or it's, having a really great career and it's kind of this mastering consciousness and not being at the effect of things versus, being like, okay, what are the cards that I'm dealt and how do I, play the best hand with the hand that I'm dealt? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And so I feel like I related immediately where I'm like, it's funny because I wrote all this stuff down and I was like, yes, we're going to do it. Yes. So, okay, so hold on. So backing up real quick. So so why did you move? Were your parents, like, was your dad in the military? Like, was that?
Not at all.
Okay.
He's a screenwriter and wrote for Disney.
Oh my God. Wait, and where were you living at the time?
And we moved 20 minutes away from Sherman Oaks to Calabasas. Okay. So not a big move if you're not from Los Angeles. But when you're 10 and you switch school districts.
That's a big deal.
To me, it occurred as a really, well, at the time I didn't think it was that big of a deal. I was like, okay, I guess we're moving.
Sure.
But I didn't realize like I'd be in a whole new school with like hundreds of kids that I didn't know. Mm-hmm. And I didn't think it would have an impact on me. Grew up as an only child. So I was pretty like, independent and leadership like from the beginning. Like, this is what we should do. We should do relay races. We're going to set up. We're going to do dances. We're going to create music videos. Like I was like shooting music videos with my friends and then editing them. Actually, that was around 12.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
You go, girl. That's amazing.
Thank you. Yeah, I always loved like filmmaking and just creating stuff.
Oh, that's so cool.
And so when I moved, I didn't anticipate that it would be hard. So it's not like I knew going into it like this is going to be a struggle. It just day by day not knowing anybody and then having, people, a few girls would say things and I started feeling like, oh, I'm under attack right now. Mm-hmm. And I don't know why, but that's how my nervous system, it occurred to my nervous system, like, oh, I'm under attack. Now I have to defend myself. Now I'm saying things back to these bullies. So I'm, that's
Was this sixth grade? It's always sixth grade. Sixth grade, that motherfucking
sixth grade is a tough one.
I think it's tough. Happened too. Yeah.
Yeah.
I broke up with Mr. Popular, and then the whole school decided it was like mutiny. We all hate her. Like it was like.
Why'd you break up with him?
He wouldn't call me. Shout out to Brad Mendoza.
You had phone calls at sixth grade?
So like fifth grade.
I was
fifth grade.
I'm not going to call them.
Oh, no. We would talk for hours, but I would always have to do the calling. And I was like, I don't have time for this. Like I was.
You already knew your worth.
I already knew.
If you're not going to call me, then what are we doing?
My mom was like, Susie, you're not even dating. Like this is not a real thing. And I'm like, yes, I am. He's my boyfriend, blah, blah, blah. Like I just literally.
I love that.
And
that's phenomenal.
Yeah.
I didn't have phone call. We didn't even I think one time my boyfriend who I saw in the schoolyard, we didn't talk. He one time brought me a necklace. Aww. But we didn't talk, let alone on the phone. So you were like moving far.
No, I was very, I was like, he doesn't call me. And I was like, look, I'm sorry, you don't call me enough. And I'm just like, I just can't because I have to do all the effort and like you need to put some effort in. And so I feel like I've circled back to that, but like I think for a long time, then I broke up with Mr. Popular, and then I feel like all my friends just were like, it was mutiny. It was like suddenly there was a moment in bullying where there was this like really like I was very, very skinny, but I was like finally like getting boobs at that time when you're like sixth grade. You're like, oh my God,
lucky
oh my God.
You.
It's that
Mine
feeling.
haven't come yet. Actually, they came in the pregnancy, but they're gone now.
They're gone now.
They've left. But it was fun while it lasted. To have them in sixth grade, I can't even imagine. I was just flat-chested.
But I was like, I felt really embarrassed about how skinny I was just because I was just so skinny. And I remember I got this top for Christmas, and I was like, I felt really pretty. It was like a very tight turtleneck. And I remember walking in, and all these guys wanted to impress like the popular kids who were really mean and bullied me all the time, and I would never just deal with it. So I walk in, and all of them started like these, like the lower on the hierarchy started throwing up. They're like, "Huh, huh." And I like pretending to throw up, and then they were all like, it was like literally a chorus of
because they thought you were anorexic or bulimic. Like
yeah,
what's the throwing up?
Oh. I just thought because they thought I was so disgusting.
Oh, that's probably what it was.
No, but now that
you just said I was so skinny, and then
and I couldn't put on weight.
This whole time you never knew that they were actually thinking.
Oh my God, no! Because I actually, you know what's so funny? Yeah.
Listen, I don't want to rewrite your childhood.
I tried to have an eating disorder when I was in college for about a week. Like after I would eat, and then I just was like, "This is terrible." Like I literally because I would. Eat a shit. I was miserable in college, and so I would like overeat, and then I'm like, oh God, now I feel sick.
Yeah,
and I felt sick, and then I would throw up, and I'm like, wait a minute, this is bordering on bulimia. I should stop doing this.
I tried it too
for like a week.
Yeah, it's not. If some people really dig it, or not dig it, but some people adopt it, and it helps feed that ism feed that ism, and get that like peace feeling, like safety, security.
Yeah.
Oh, I felt a lot of security overeating.
Yeah. Honestly, that was my safe place.
I wouldn't always I mostly wouldn't go to throwing it up because that just wasn't my jam. But
I would just sit in it. Yeah.
I'd just sit with the feelings and let the sugar just do its thing and make me enraged. And the next day I'd be like, I need more.
I realized it's like when you're, college for me was like a tough time. And I felt like the only coping mechanism like I had was food, and then it was just sort of like, wow, I'm 20 pounds overweight now. Yeah. But then the minute that I quit the tennis team, it was like, it was pretty tough. I realized, then I lost all the weight again. But it's interesting that I had more compassion for people who are going through that because I immediately got, oh wow, this is why it's just self-soothing. Like the food is self-soothing. And then
it literally comforts the gut, as it's going. It's like it adds warmth to the gut until you overdo it.
Wow.
It's
no, we're just going.
Now you know that they were actually making fun of you, thinking you're bulimic. No,
yes, I had no idea.
We don't know. I thought that's what you were telling me.
No, but now that makes sense.
Maybe they were just saying you were disgusting. It's interesting that you took it that way.
That's how I took it.
Or maybe
that's how I took it.
Maybe it had nothing to do with you. Like, is there any possibility that they were just doing that for each other for a different reason?
No, because it was a daily thing. It was like, let's terrorize her a little bit. And I never, and what was interesting is like, I never cried about it. And like my sort of thing was, I'm going to turn myself into a superhero was my double down.
Nice.
And it wasn't until later in life that I used to be like the class clown, funny kid that I was like, oh God. So getting back to the whole idea of being perfect, you know, of being like, I'm going to turn myself into a superhero so I'm like invincible or something. Mm-hmm. And then it's just it's such a tightrope that's like nearly impossible. You can never be perfect. So it's just like one of those things where you're just like, fuck it. I'm going to embrace the mess. Yeah. And I'm just going to embrace just like, you know. And
I need to do that. How do you do that? Like what made you embrace the mess? Like you know, what moment was it?
I think like going through a breakup, like I think there was moments when I was in my previous relationship where I felt there was a really, really long relationship that I think he really appreciated my sense of humor, and I was like ridiculous and do voices, the same thing like you would do, impressions, and you know, he would love it. And I feel like this next iteration, I was doing this like, I'm going to be perfect. And like,
and what does that even look like? That must have felt weird for you, no?
It was going back to an old pattern.
Oh, okay.
You know, of like, you know, I'm going to be this like perfect girl or like the cool girl, you know.
Which look like, what does that look like?
Well, I feel like there was I feel like it was being this like pleaser. I'm going to fit into this idea of what you want me to be, you know. And I feel like that's like kind of prevalent in being like an actress of like, I'm going to fit, you know.
Yeah. Oh God.
You know
the self-tapes of like, I'm going to do what I think they want. I've
I've
already lost, and now I hate myself, and now I've lost all my authenticity, so forget it.
And how do you embrace that? So
not well. I've tested, but I haven't gotten to the thing.
But you know what's really interesting?
There's a lot of work that, I mean, I also feel like I'm like right there. Mm-hmm. I'm right wherever there is that next level of like, okay, I've done all these videos for so long. They do really well. I know how to be in the moment and be present and just respond and like all the acting tools. But like, it just, I don't know. It's like waiting for that moment. Or not waiting, but like continuing to create and just like trusting the universe is also a thing. I'm also a jack of all trades. So I'm like, I wrote a book. I'm doing a podcast. I also act. If I get an audition, I'll do that too. And then creating content. And so that for me is like, okay, I'm in a place now that, well, one, I'm a mother. So it's like, now I don't want to do any of that stuff, but just be home with my baby. Like, so that's a whole other shift because this is like almost 11 months in of being, my whole reality is shattered from everything that was, I was like, wait, I was working towards something. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Now that's not occurring to me as important anymore, even though I know it is because my soul will continue to want to dissolve tension for the world by making them laugh or, you know, connecting through the heart. Right now, it's like such a balance of like continuing on my path while being a mother. I'm like, how does anyone do this?
Yeah. Also,
I'm like 5 days no sleep. Oh my God. I just did like a training program all day for 3 days. So not only was I in a intense training program for 3 days,
what was the training program?
MITT.
What's that?
Just massive in transformation technology program.
Oh my God, jack of all trades.
I love all that stuff. So I've done like Tony Robbins and Landmark, Marianne Williamson.
Me too.
So I've done like, I've
done Tony Robbins.
Insight.
Just like Hoffman.
Oh, you have?
Yeah. Have you done the Hoffman?
No.
Yeah, Hoffman. Oh my God.
No, I did on site. Yeah. I don't know if but I would
still
be down to do Hoffman. Like I love all that.
I love all that too. Oh my God.
So I'm a little like, I'm not even like, I'm here, but I'm, you know.
And why haven't you slept? Having a baby?
Yeah, he's been up for 2 hours a night for whatever reason.
Oh man.
It's challenging.
Teething, maybe?
Maybe. Yeah. I don't know. He all day, he's so happy. He's just a happy baby and we do really well during the day and the night has just been a challenge. And that's not the time to have a challenge because, you know, we all need our sleep to feel like
rested
and normal. And I don't feel normal right now.
I've heard one of my friends, he was saying, I did a movie with, and they have it down to a science where it's like temperature is like, it needs to be kind of cold, but also needs to be kind of cozy.
Yeah.
So
temperature, cold, cozy, sound machine, naps on time.
Oh, so you're on it. You got it.
Oh, of
You're
course.
so
Are you kidding me? We've been on it. So when we're doing everything, all the things that the scientific things that help with the night sleeping, and then it still doesn't work.
Oh no,
it's really hard.
One of my best friends, she was also going through that too, where I think it might just be the age of adjustment. I don't know.
Yeah, they have all these like what's it called? Swings, or there's a word for it that it's not coming to me, but leaps. Intense leaps where their development is like getting really intense for them. And it's like they're always in a leap though. Like that's the thing. There's this app that has like, know when your child's in a leap. So like just be extra sensitive. And it's like the first year, it's like every day is a leap. So you're like, okay, he's learning new things every single day. So yeah. And then there's teething. If they're teething, but if you're going to travel, then maybe don't. So they're out of their environment. It's just it's a lot. And I love it so much. Mm-hmm. It's like the best thing ever. Mm-hmm. And the most challenging thing I've ever experienced in my entire life. Even I would rather be bullied. No, I wouldn't. What am I talking about?
You're going on 5 hours of sleep in like the last
I will pay someone to bully me? What am I talking about? See, I don't know what I'm saying right now.
I think.
Hello?
It's look, you're saying it's one of the most it's one of the most important jobs you'll ever have, and one of the most challenging.
It's the most important job I will ever have.
And for everyone else in the world, because, I think at least like from my viewpoint, I don't have a partner or kids, but like that is the goal. That's the end goal. But
is it?
Yeah.
Oh, that's so nice.
Yeah.
I think you'd be a great mom.
Thanks. I think I would be too.
I think you'd be a really fun, sweet mom.
I think I wanted to be like a mom since I was 5. Yeah. So like I was, like, what does everyone want to be when they grow up? And I was like a mom.
I hope that for you.
Me too. But I think I'm just trying to get the partnership right.
You can do it alone. I'm just kidding. Do not do it alone.
I do not
I'm
want
joking.
That.
Me and Johnny are killing it.
Yeah.
Like before baby, we were like killing it.
Yeah.
And I was just like, how does anyone do this without a partner? 2, what about if they're not doing well? Like that is essential. So I'm glad that you have that.
It takes a village.
Yes.
It takes a village. So I know I'm very clear on that. And I feel like, people are like, do it by yourself. I can't. Maybe there's some people out there that can. I'm definitely not. I'm a team-oriented person. And I would like slowly just feel like I would die. Like not having that sense of family around, especially like, having, your partner's like other support system of family and friends. And it takes a village.
It does. I wish we had villages that we could just do that and stop being in these little cubbies of like just the 2 people.
Yeah.
Because it's like we all need a lot more support than we actually allow ourselves.
Yeah.
So
okay, so hold on. So going back to all these like healing modalities, and you have a podcast which is very much based on those things. And we were just talking about self-love. So to answer your question about that, I think it's always a process where it's like, I feel like the more that I'm like acting in my divine, like if I'm listening to God and I'm listening to my higher power and my higher self, then I feel like I'm on that right path, and I'm like, look at you go. Like the voice in my head is like, look at you go. You're so awesome.
Supportive, loving,
so supportive.
Ease, flow, grace, like all the good things. Abundant, attractive, meaning like magnetic. Yeah.
Totally. And then when I'm not listening to, like once I get into fear, like I believe that 2 vibrations,
love two
vibrations in life are love and fear.
That's it. And only love is real. Because if you're in fear, you're hallucinating. That's what Marianne Williamson says. She says anything other than fear, you're in hallucination.
Well, that's where you like bring the demons. Like that demon energy. Like I feel
I'm not enough, I suck, I'm terrible, I'm distant, I want to be separate. Like that's like not how babies operate, right? So it's like it's all taught all that fear is like taught and passed around and infecting each other with fear.
Totally.
I always say we're either infecting each other with fear
or love
or affecting each other with love.
I literally had a podcast talking about just about this.
We just have the same brain.
Yeah, I'm just
bullied, perfectionist, cuties, funny, higher powers.
Yes. Yeah.
Erwan.
But you, by the way, shout out to Erwan. Okay, can we have one in New York for the love of God? Because
I feel like, what the? I was just there.
I know.
You live there, right?
I live there. I love New York. Okay, wait, hold on. I want to go back to. Okay, I want to hit on New York, and I want to talk about how was your trip to New York. But I want to go back to the idea of self-love, and I feel like the process, at least for me, is just when I'm on that right path, and I feel like I'm embracing my higher self and the divine, then I feel like life is going right. And the more that you're aligned with those things, the more right and good things you're doing. It's like these two. It's like you're putting money into the piggy bank of good, and then the fear causes chaos and tragedy, and so it's like
illness,
and so it's like it's the two wolves. It's like, which one am I feeding?
Yeah, and which one's going to live? The one you feed.
The one you feed. And so like it is definitely for me that I
Do we have the same dad or
we might. My dad's dead.
Oh.
They're both dead.
Sorry about that. You had two dads?
No.
Were you raised by two fathers?
That would be amazing if I was.
That's not as common back then.
No,
right?
but my dad and my mom, they both passed away. But
I'm sorry.
But I do think that the self-love thing, like it's just such a process because, some days are easier to love myself than others, when it's like you're sort of just in the midst. And sometimes life just happens where it just wallops you with chaos and there's nothing you can do about it. Yeah. And it's like you also, like I've had relationships where it's, they can end up being that I've just let go of some relationships and like they were very chaotic or it was like, or wasn't chaotic, but they weren't what I thought they were.
Yeah.
And so it feels like there was a sense of betrayal a bit.
On their end?
Yeah. I mean, it was also my fault because I feel like I put them in, like, I saw, like, there were signs and I guess I didn't quite see it correctly.
You had hope and you saw potential.
And I saw potential. But I could
open-hearted.
But I could also see like the red flags. I was like, wow, that's a wild thing to say. And I'm like, I'm going to put a pin in that. Maybe you're going to rethink that later.
Did we also date the same guys?
Yes.
I did like to paint red flags green.
Pink. I was like,
pink.
No, pink.
Yeah,
no.
I say green because it's like go. But yeah, I relate to that a lot.
Oh my God.
It's like seeing those red flags and being like, well, I'm just going to ignore that because it doesn't really align with the story that I've already created that we are as a unit. And what we are is like amazing because all of that exists too, right? Like they do have these amazing qualities that are loving and all these things. I think the red flags are them in their fear. And so we hope that everyone can just be in the love all the time. And it really is hard to see people we love around us operating from fear because then it triggers our own fear and limitation. And so when I'm around people that are in their limitations, I get really frustrated.
Yeah.
So I'm like, no, I worked really hard to be in this abundant mindset and this love. So let's stay up here. Like everybody, come on. We can do this live. Yay, we've all got it. Everybody wins. And then not everybody operates like that all the time. I don't operate like that all the time.
We can't, like, that's what I've noticed is like sometimes I'll be on this path with my friends and we're always abundant mindset. Like, but sometimes like I'll get off it and I'll be like, oh, this chaos, what happened? I feel betrayed and the thing. And then it's like, okay, well, I chose those relationships and like I was also a participant, you know, and then also like, if I'm being fear-based and I'm like, oh God, scarcity mindset. And then it kind of doubles down and then you get into this like spiral.
Yeah.
Or it's like my other friends have also done that as well. But then it's like, hey, then they're, one of my best friends, Christy, she's like, I'm not going to participate in this. Like, she's just like, come up here, like, come back to love.
That's really
And so she's like, she's also very much there for me when shit hits the fan all the time. But then she's like, hey, I'm spent. And like, she's like, or whatever has happened in life, and then is like, but also I think for her too is like sometimes if she's like, why isn't this happening? Like, I've worked so hard, and then I'll also be that for her of like, well, like, it's our limitations and it's everything that we're, we have to see this is something that I've noticed. I was watching Breaking Point, and it's so interesting because it also relates to everything else in terms of manifesting, that the greatest tennis players like Nadal, Federer, the up-and-comers who are like top 10 or like 20 in the world, they all like have these fears. And so they're trying to overcome these fears. And they're like the great ones, like the greatest people, like Nadal, like basically when they talk about Nadal, he always can come back from wherever. It doesn't matter. Like the match is never over. That if he's like, match points down, 2 sets to 5-1, he's coming back.
Yeah.
And so there's this mindset that they have of just being so consistent, and every single point is like being of that mindset that no matter what happens, they're not at the effect of their life constantly. And they're choosing that they have that. They're choosing that they, can win this match, and they're choosing that mindset over and over. So it's so ingrained of like, I got this. So they're not getting pissed off. They're not.
Yeah, they're not a victim of their circumstance.
They're not a victim of their
circumstance. I heard
circumstance.
you say the word choose. It's very. That's exactly what it is. Every moment we have a choice to choose the state we're in and to choose our reaction. And so often we're like at the whim of our reaction, and then all of a sudden it's like life's happening to me, not realizing that it's actually happening for us, and that we get to have a choice in every single moment and go, okay, I have slept 3 hours for over 2 years, because when I'm pregnant, it was also challenging to sleep because once the belly gets really big, you have to pee a lot.
Oh, God.
And to go, okay, well, I get to keep showing up regardless of being tired and sleep deprived and all the stories that come along with, am I, not a good mom because I'm not doing this the right way, or whatever else stories that we create in our mind. I get to choose to feel so much gratitude and joy for my life. And the same thing that I heard you say, I heard you taking a lot of responsibility for your past partnerships. And that's something that I think is really, really important and can hold a lot of, I'd say like, I was going to say people, but like, I think, people back if they've ever been cheated on or betrayed, is like, feel the feelings, absolutely acknowledge that like they hurt you. It's not, because I'm somebody that takes almost sometimes too much responsibility. I'm like, well, he was in pain and let me hold the space for him. And I know it's not personal and let me just be there. And it's almost like bypassing my own experience sometimes. That's what happened 5 years ago. And recognizing like, let's shift from victim to victor and go, okay, what was my part? I could have walked away here. I could have set boundaries here. I could have left here. I had every opportunity. My body was like, ooh, that's a no, but I'm just going to ignore it and I'm going to move forward anyway. And then when shit hit the fan, it was like, yeah, duh. Yeah. Obviously, he told me 80 times who he was. And because I went to his higher self, I'm like, I'm going to acknowledge his higher self, which I believe is love. I know he meant well. He self-sabotaged. Like, I know what happened. He didn't want to he has to live with himself. That sucks, to live with that and not be able to like concede to his innermost self the pain that he was going through and his inability to be honest. That sucks. Honesty sets us free. Yeah. That's one of my best qualities, is that I can be honest.
You're a truth seeker.
That's right.
And I'm also a truth seeker, girl.
Yeah, and that's where freedom comes. That's where energy is. That's where like vibration is. When we're saying yes to the universe, our energy opens out. And he started getting really sick towards the end, and just like heavy and dense, and it was really sad to watch. But he couldn't be honest about what he was going through. He just wanted to do what he wanted to do. And I would have loved to support him through it, but it was what it was. And I had to move on. I got to move on. Yeah. Thank God. Because I got to feel really proud of how I showed up in that relationship. I was honest. I was loving. I was truthful. I was there. I did the work. And I projected that he had done all the work too, because he didn't drink. What the hell? It's like, well, he doesn't drink. So clearly we're both doing the work. Like,
why do we do that?
I just painted this whole story of who this man was because he had an accent, which is attractive. That's fun.
What kind of accent?
a blend of them. He could do every accent. So, but he was Scottish.
Oh, God.
I mean, come on.
Girl, right there. It's like 50%.
That was but he had a New Zealand accent because he grew up in New Zealand and then it turned Australian. So it's just like this blend, and it was a very deep voice. And he looked kind of like Ewan McGregor.
Just purely for those things.
And that's on us. That's literally on us.
Not purely. I literally was dating a guy who could do actually several. As a matter of fact, several of them could do Scottish accents perfectly. Jesus Christ, I'm seeing my life flash before my eyes.
That's really, I'm telling you, we may have dated the same people. I'm scared to hear.
No. Well,
like charismatic, like really present, my love. And I'm just like,
oh, so
but
hot.
he's on our first date, like teaching me how to stab someone.
Oh, hot.
Yeah, we were like in a diner. It's like, if you ever need to stab someone, you just have to make sure that you stop your arm from going in. And I'm like, that should have been
a red flag.
That was a huge red flag.
But here's the thing. I'm learning martial arts, and that's kind of fun. So it's like, on the one hand, you're like, cool.
And that's what I made it in my head. I was like, that's cool that he like carries a knife. And he's like, I didn't think of it as like, what if that's because he's done that?
Kind of sounds like it. Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not saying he hasn't. I don't know. I don't know if anything he's ever said is it as time went on.
How long were you in that? How long were you in that relationship?
It wrapped up about at the 2-year mark. But we got married. Yeah, it was a crazy story. It was a month after our wedding that I found out that he was sending nudes to women and being really unkind about Manon and me, the woman he had just married. Yeah, it was really sad. Turned my whole life upside down. I was like, wait, what reality am I in? Because we were together every moment. So it was really, really confusing and earth-shattering. And I started questioning my reality. And I started realizing like, oh, I have not been listening to my intuition. I don't know if I trust myself. I've done so much work on myself. How could I have attracted this into my life? Like I was taking full responsibility. I was like, I did this.
Yeah, whatever.
I chose to marry this man who would behave like that. And at the same time, he was a great actor. I think he meant well. I think at some point in the relationship, he must have turned or knows how to hide this and has been doing it for his whole life.
Knows how to hide this.
He's
an actor.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
He's an actor and he also
he's a chameleon.
1,000%. Yeah.
I feel like,
and that's not to shit talk him. Like I am responsible. Like I'm not a victim. I got to learn such a beautiful lesson. I'm so grateful that happened. And I mean that because I got to learn so much anyway.
So I had this, so when you were saying about, he was able to kind of hide this, I think it's probably more hide. So when I look back at my family lineage, they had a lot of trauma that like my dad was in this concentration camp as in World War II. It was like a collective farm, but it was when he was a child. And so no one really knew this until like, a year or two before he died, like my whole life. And so I feel like these family patterns get passed down. And so for me, it was sort of this idea of I'm going to be the perfect, idea of this. And so like, me and my best friend were writing these characters and writing this story called Famous Adjacent. And at the time, there was this whole other aspect of the parts of me that I wasn't including, like all this other, like all like the tough stuff, the trauma or whatever that was. And, and so at the time we weren't best friends, but when we were writing this, we became best friends because she's like, what's all this other stuff? Like Liz seems to be this character that's just like, hey, I'm here and everything's okay and perfect. And then it was sort of like, I'm in this toxic relationship and help me get out of it.
Yeah.
And so I think that's when I started to embrace the mess. But I think I had completely compartmentalized of my life of being like, hey, everything's perfect. And kind of essentially, I don't want to, living a double life a little bit of just pretending that this toxic relationship isn't what it is and like being in denial. And I think.
What made it toxic?
Do you have a few hours?
Bullet points?
He was like a father figure that I never wanted to be with. And he was someone that, he was like my music manager and he was twice my age. And it was like a kind of a grooming situation. And so it was like, oh no, we're not together. And oh no, we're not. Like he's just...
so you had to pretend to be not with him?
Yeah. There was there were so many other complicated things. And so there was a lot of trauma, I think, in that whole toxic relationship. And so, but I had chose that. So I think like there was a wound with my father at the time. So I like just... of his wounds, of him having this, like, he didn't want to be a father, like, you know, and I think he became a father because my mom was like, I really want to have a kid. And so he's like, okay. And so I think because when you have a kid, you have to relive your childhood through somebody else's eyes. And so if you have a lot of trauma and I just remember that age when I was about 7, and I just remember feeling this shift of like, ugh. And so for my dad, that's when he was seeing people murdered and seeing like his mother raped or whatever the hell.
Of course he didn't want to look at that.
And so I think
it's like rightly so.
Yeah.
And that sucks for you.
And so
I
think that there was this shift of how I interpreted that. My dad loved me, but I was only able to see that later in life. And so I think there was this push away feeling, which was like, I don't want you. And it was like, I don't want this feeling of this trauma and this pain. And so I think I had found another father figure that was like fucked up and sick and toxic.
Wow.
And so, And so I think like before I had come out of that, I was like pretending that everything's okay. And so kind of living this chameleon way of being. And it wasn't until I just kind of Eminem'd myself and just, you know, owned it and fully was like, this is just a footnote of what happened. It's not, you know, but I think you can't really get there until you've kind of just...
It makes a lot of sense that you would attract that having gone through that childhood. And perhaps it was healing to some degree to get to spend time with that energy type. And I'm sorry that you didn't get to have the childhood that you deserved with your father.
But
I'm sure there's a reason. You know?
It's made me who I am.
Exactly.
And so like I don't regret any of it because it's like also I do believe that we choose these lives. What I believe we come back. I believe we go back. I mean, if you hear all the near-death experiences, people, you know, they go up and then they have to be like, oh yeah, I chose this and we were supposed to karmically like find these lessons. And so like I don't regret anything. Like I think if you can use everything, you know, everything's an opportunity. Everything is an invitation for growth and for expanding your consciousness. And so I think in this scenario, but I'm saying to, you know, this guy, I think there's probably a lot of pain. There's a lot of trauma, especially because he's a Scot. Like they drink their problems away. It's very similar to Boston. Boston is very much like how I grew up and everything is like just brush it under the rug. And so, you know, it's sort of like I've completely like, I feel like I've broken those family patterns. And so I think like.
That takes a lot of determination and your soul must really want big things to be able to do that.
Totally.
I think.
Yeah. And so so I think for, you know, now it's like embracing the mess and embracing everything and using it all. But I think like for, you know, the Scots, it's like, it's really cool that you had empathy for him and being like, hey, I showed up fully in this relationship.
Yeah. My first thought when it happened was, oh my God, he's in so much pain. And I had no idea.
Yeah.
Because we had just gotten married and it was a beautiful day. Like, so it was really...
For him to be able to hide that, like, that's like super compartmentalized.
Sad. That's sad.
You know? So he's like split from himself.
Yeah, and that's why I had compassion. Life. I was just like, oh my God, for him to hide that and live a double life like that, I can't imagine. That would eat me. That would kill me.
Yeah.
Or it'd make me really sick.
Yeah.
And
which is why he was sick, because now you were exposing that. And then suddenly it was like, I don't want to deal with this. I don't want to confront this because it nearly killed me.
Yeah.
Like it nearly kills you. And so also for you, it's sort of how you were saying, it's like this, you know, either it can infect, like the sickness can infect or it can affect, like for love. And so like.
It was hard too, because I really loved him. I had married him.
Yeah.
So I take marriage serious.
And you loved his higher self.
Yeah. And I loved the good parts. And I was like, I know that he doesn't want to be doing this. I don't think, unless he's the rare psychopath category or sociopath or whatever those.
The dark triad.
Yeah, like unless he's really in that category, in which case he might be, because I'm even learning in my 5-year relationship now, there's so much I'm still learning. I think a huge part of what I really, if I could go back, I'd do differently is really pause and just let it be and make different decisions within the pause and not be so urgent with it. We moved so quickly, and they say if it's urgent, it's not spiritual. And had I just paused and been in my breath and got some feedback and like really saw how I really felt, I think I would have made some different choices. But I operated from such a like, this is so exciting. And so, and
how quickly did you guys get married?
Like a year, but we got engaged after 4 months.
That's pretty quick.
Yeah, we got engaged. Yeah. And now I just got engaged to Johnny, and we already have a child, and he proposed like 4 years. Like, he's such an opposite
he's so
energy
grounded.
type.
He feels he's so grounded, right? I wanted to also talk about
that man. Yes. And like, I'm very like, blah, blah, blah.
You guys are
I
so
hug him. I'm like
compatible. Like he's like, I literally wanted to mention, because he's like a grounding force for you.
Really
I could easily sense that
for a lot of people. Like, that's just his like energy. He's not a cheater. He's not a impulsive. He's very slow moving. Like we're on opposite ends.
We're very impulsive. We're like, let's do
so
it.
exciting.
Oh,
I love that adrenaline. Yeah.
I love the adrenaline. Where's it gonna take me? I might die. Yes.
And Johnny's like, hold on, wait. And it drives me nuts sometimes. That part of me that wants instant gratification, like, let's go. He's just like,
that dopamine hit, give it to me.
Totally. But being with him has been such an opposition from most of the men that I've dated, which were similar energy types to me. So it was like highs and lows and roller coasters, which I love roller coasters, but I don't want to live on a roller coaster.
Yeah.
I want to ride it once or twice and then like get on the log ride, because log ride's like just chilling. There's sights to see. There's a drop. It's fun, but it's not like the Goliath, And I love the Goliath, but I don't want my relationship to be the Goliath. Imagine it's fun
terrible.
one time, but imagine going at it 18 times and then you can't get off.
Yeah.
They're like, sorry, you have to go on again. And you're like, wait, I'm going to throw up.
Yeah, no, thank you.
And I don't want to live that way. And like, I love excitement. I love it. I love enthusiasm, excitement, adrenaline, but I don't need that in my home.
Yeah.
And with Johnny, it's been a very peaceful, loving, playful, safe, soft, supportive home. And I'm so glad. And that's exactly why I chose to have I chose to have a baby with this man, is because I was like, oh, this is going to be a phenomenal father. Like, that's literally why.
And how did you choose different? How did you make that jump?
Good question.
Wait, hold. So one thing that's really interesting that you also said that I also experienced is coming out of a really kind of crazy relationship where you don't know who you were with, kind of thing, like of that other toxic relationship. You literally don't know your reality. You no longer realize, you're like, wait, when you have the mirrors of your friends and the people that you trust suddenly being like, what the fuck? And then mirroring that back to you, you're like, who am I? Who is that person? Who the fuck is anybody? Like, if anyone's capable of it, you're like, anyone's capable of anything. Like, this is so crazy.
It's so creepy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so how did you overcome, because it caused a severe PTSD for me, which I've since healed, but it fucked up it rocked my world for like 10 years. And I was like, is my brain ever going to be right again? And eventually I started all these different healing modalities, and neurofeedback really saved my life. But how did you overcome, did you have any PTSD from that? Because it's sort of like when you can't orient yourself in the world anymore, and and if your compass is constantly spinning and you don't know where your north is, it's like you don't have a sense of self, you don't have a sense of God, you don't have a sense of anything, and you have to like work on that relationship, like building that relationship back with yourself and back with God, or whatever that version is for you. So
before dating the guy that I married, I had a series of like years of healing opportunities and like being with myself. being single and like doing that thing that sometimes people like me that was jumping from relationship, avoiding being single because it's like, oh, God forbid I'm with myself. I spent that time being with myself and really like loving being with myself. And so when I had met the guy that I married, I was like, oh, good. All the work that I'd done had taken me to this point. Mm-hmm. So he acted like a grounded, guiding force. And sometimes he was. So I didn't think that, I was like, oh yeah, I don't call in, like our relationship in those 2 years did not feel toxic. It did not feel like he was not abusive in any way. Mm-hmm. He loved the shit out of me. He treated me like a queen. I thought I had attracted the Johnny relationship with the guy that I married, which was why it was so confusing when I learned he was doing these things. So I would not have attracted a man that was abusive, hit me, called me names, any of those things. Mm-hmm. We had a sober relationship. We danced a lot together. Like people, when they met him, they were like, you met your match. We're so happy for you. Mm-hmm. That's why it was so confusing when that happened. Mm-hmm. So that's just information. So I was already, I feel, on the path. It's not like I just chose differently because...
Did you see the signs? Like, looking back now, you see all the signs?
Yeah, like the stabbing was funny. He tattooed my name on his chest without telling me. I was like, oh, that's extreme. There must be something he's trying to prove. In the back of my mind, I thought that. But in the forefront, I was like, this is romantic. When my ex
also got... Whoa. We had like a huge... there was some crazy like, hey, I lied about this huge big thing for like a year and then got a tattoo. And I was like, my fight or flight, I was like, get out.
Yeah.
And I was like, same thing. It's like, I felt like, I'm like, you're trying to fix this with a tattoo.
It's not going to fix it.
And it can't.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like and he had tattoos all over his body, which now I think it's beautiful when it's art. I think it's also can be a sign of the feeling of needing to be significant in the world. Like
also
almost
pain.
too.
I've noticed pain. I've noticed like a lot of people, some people, like it depends.
Well, yeah, the physical act of getting it too is painful. So that's interesting that they continue to go back to like that, like, I'm proving something to the world. And then that's not everybody, obviously.
No, it's not. There's not a one size fits all. But what I've noticed is there have been patterns of guys that I've dated that I'm just like, oh, there's some traumas, and it feels tied to these tattoos.
Yeah. Yeah, and the guy that I married had a lot of trauma growing up, and that was always in the back of my mind too. It was like, he must have really healed a lot of stuff to having gone through what he's gone through and have it not affect him in this relationship. He just hit it all.
Did he go to therapy at all, or did he?
No. But however, when I suggested Landmark, he did it. When I took him to Tony Robbins, like when I suggested something, he did it. So I was like, he's
a willing partner.
He's willing.
He's a willy willy. He's a willing
partner. Again, like he did all the right things. So that's why it was really shocking. Mm-hmm. That's what my whole reality was like, but where did we go wrong? I did the feminine workshop. He did the masculine in Mount Shasta. Like we're both doing the work. So what happened? I don't know.
Did you ever get a chance to confront that? Like, so in addition to, did you start picking your life apart, and how did you start reorienting your reality again, being like, what is my reality? And then also with him, did you have like any resolution? Did you confront him? How did that like?
Because we weren't in like a 10-year marriage, we had lived together basically like a year. Once he did what he did, I had him leave, which was the best thing I would suggest anyone do, is like if someone betrays your trust like that, get space from them so that you can get back to who you really are and what you really need, and like think clearly. Because it's really hard for me to think clearly when someone's right in front of me, because I get to people pleasing, I lean in, I would get reflective as a Libra. I'm like, what are they up to in the world? Like, let me just make sure they're okay, because if I can be hypervigilant with my parents. That's how I grew up. It's just
You're a Libra Scorpio cusp though.
I am. That's true. So I don't know what that means. I've always identified Libra, but Scorpios are a little what?
Yeah, I'm a Scorpio.
Who are you?
Yeah. But I'm like, continue.
So yeah, to get them out of your space, that was really helpful.
Yeah.
That like he did it, and then 2 days later he was out of the house. So I got to, I think that really helped like just get me back into my own energy, which was a lot lighter. I didn't even realize the density that he brought to the relationship that I had been carrying, because I was just like, okay, we love each other. We're getting married. We're married now. And it's going to be a long, heavy, but really deep road with this man. The Scottish man is going to be, but it's going to be so meaningful. But once he left, I had lost 8 pounds. Like, even though I was like grieving, I felt so much better in my body.
Wow.
I was like, actually, I feel a lot better now that I'm like, he's not around. I was sad. I cried a lot. Yeah. We also did 3 months of therapy because I was like willing to see, because he kept saying, I'll change. Like, I'm just sick. So I was like, okay.
Wow. So he could admit that.
Well, but he didn't change. Like during therapy, he was continuing. He was just bullshitting. I don't know. Whatever. It is what it is. Bless him. But what was great was I had my friend Shannon move in during that time, during those like 4 months. She was like, we were laughing. I was like, oh, Manon on her own is like chilling. She's thriving. She finds the joy of life.
That's awesome.
I missed that in that year with him. I was like, or however long it was, I missed that. You know, when I'm in relationships, sometimes I lose myself.
Yeah.
And if I'm in the wrong relationship, that over time can be really exhausting. And so when Johnny came along, I thought he was gay.
Why did you think he
just had the lightest energy. He was just so easy to be around, and he was just kind of like blah, 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 blah. But like not airy like that.
Yeah.
But just there was something in his energy type that was just so pleasant to my system that I just assumed like the rapport was so easy. I don't know. I just felt like, well, he's probably gay. And because I was going through what I was going through and we met.
Was he feminine at all? Does he have like feminine qualities?
No. Oh. Maybe. He seemed like a little boy.
Oh, okay.
He just seemed like a little boy.
Okay.
And so I don't know what the gay part is, and that lasted for like a second. It was just like we did not meet in a way that was we're gonna date.
But he also seems like a man because it's like he didn't.
Now definitely. I mean, he's like
because he seems very grounded and feels very like he's, you know, handling things.
He does.
Being his masculine of handling, taking care, and making sure that you're okay.
He is a huge reason why I got to move through that trauma so quickly.
Wow.
Because of the energy. So even though he was still like finding his place in the world and had like a boyish energy, his energy when I was grieving in the beginning of our relationship was very masculine, holding the space, very easy for him. Just like I'd cry because I'd hear the wedding song. And instead of like making me wrong for crying about my ex, he'd be like, let it out. I got you. You could cry for the next 5 years every single day, and it may not be enough because what happened to you wasn't right. Like, it's okay to be in pain. And it was like, oh this man's amazing.
He's amazing.
He's not making me wrong. Like, that's really nice. So anytime grieving would come up, I would just feel it. He'd hold me, and then 5 minutes later, we'd be laughing and playing. And he was just so healing and nourishing for my nervous system. And that really helped me move past because I had a little bit of trust issues when I first met Johnny because of the marriage.
Of course.
I didn't have trust issues before the marriage. I was very trusting. Yeah. I never checked people's phones. I never was the jealous type. I was very trusting because I trusted myself, you know?
Yeah.
So I projected that onto him. And so when I first met Johnny, it was like, ooh, he's on his phone. What if, and I just.
Oh my God. After those bad relationships, I literally it becomes like a Pavlovian response where it's like when they're on their phone, like, you know, and when I had a previous relationship where I was just like, there was absolutely no trust, but it does create that, like, what are you doing? What are you doing? You know, and then into new relationships, like occasionally that thought will like creep in and I'll be like, oh, wow, that's like, that's still there. And, you know, once you build a relationship with yourself, you can really trust it. And you're like, it's not a thing. Like,
well, and even in Johnny's case, I went so far as to be like, ooh, I'm having jealousy. You're on your phone. I'm feeling things. And he was like, here you go. He was like, you can always look in my phone. Like, I have nothing to hide.
And the minute they say that, you're like, I don't ever need to check your fucking phone.
And my jealousy went away. It went away. It did not live on.
Because when they're hiding, when they're like, no.
You can tell.
Then you're like, what the fuck are you hiding?
Yeah, it's all in their response.
It's all in their response.
That's everything you need to know is right there. And Johnny's like, oh, I'm not a cheater.
Yeah.
I would never do that. And I have no, like, you can always look at my phone because I know that like what you went through is intense and I want you to like
That's amazing.
get the opposite feedback. And
yeah.
one time I did check his phone because he gave me permission and all I saw was like messages praising me rather than what I saw the other guy do, which was like not nice about the woman he just married. Again, that's his own issues. He felt like it's interesting how they feel like they need to like downgrade their partner to like get love from other women.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. And when you confronted that, what did he say? Because he's like placating one person to get validation and love, you know, and then so how do you?
He said that he needed to make me small so that he could occur as bigger.
Well, at least he's honest. I mean, like, you know, that he could admit that's like, you know, because I do feel that can't, like, do you know what I mean? That can be like a human thing to
he said he didn't. He said he didn't mean it, but he sure sent a lot of messages. And that girl that he had sent messages to still comments on my stuff 5 years later.
That's so crazy.
Trying to state her case. It's really interesting. I saw one on my YouTube. I went, is that the same girl that he did that 5 years ago? What is she doing?
No.
Poor thing.
Yeah. But I will say, like, it's never about you. Like when people are, you know what I mean? It had nothing to do with you. You know, it's like he would.
That I know.
And so he would be doing this with anybody that he would have married.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, and so it's like.
And he did. His ex-girlfriends reached out to me after my book came out.
And you had, oh my God. When you have no idea who you're with, and then, you know, you and the ex-girlfriend or ex, you know, you're like, can we have a chat? Because I don't know who we just like, let me tell you.
It's so comforting though, isn't it?
Because you're just like,
stories. You have the same exact stories. You're like, did he do this? Did he do this?
Yes,
did he do this? And you're like, oh my God, I thought I was the only one.
I thought I was the only one because then you don't feel validated and you feel like you're alone and then you just feel like this crazy person.
Yeah. It's wild.
Okay, so now you're in a happy relationship and
it started with, again, we did not meet or begin thinking we were going to date each other. We went into it so slowly, which was so different than anything I had experienced. So it's been this really slow burn, but it keeps getting better and better. And there have been times where I'm like, am I, you know, bored? Or is this just peace? Because it's almost like he's not what I thought I wanted, but he's absolutely everything that I've needed. And so he's helped heal my heart. He's helped me be grounded. Like he's just like, and I respect him and I want
respect is so important.
Yes. Yeah, I want to treat him good. I want to be better for him. Whereas in other relationships, I don't know what I was thinking about. I was just like, I just wanted to be fun or whatever. Just wanting to that high, I guess.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah,
whereas
think
like
the dopamine hit.
Which doesn't
end well.
It's not sustainable.
Yeah, no.
It's not sustainable. I want to know more about your stuff. Are we supposed to be talking about great ones?
No, but this is the shit we talk about.
Yeah.
No, literally, we talk about anything and everything. But I mean, we're getting to the good stuff of, you know, because you're saying, okay, well, fuck. I mean, everyone in LA is dating a fuck boy. Like it's a situation.
They're everywhere. They're everywhere, and the parts of us that are in pain need some guidance. We need guides to,
because it's not just men. I don't want to, because I'm a person.
No.
Like I'm consciousness. We're consciousness.
No,
So
that woman reached out to a married man. He was clearly married. He had just posted his wedding photo, and she was like, well, that's fine. So like clearly women suck too sometimes.
Yes.
We all suck.
Yeah, we all suck. We can all suck. It sucks to suck.
It
also.
sucks to suck.
It sucks to suck. No one wants to suck, you know what I mean?
And we're all doing our best.
Yeah.
And we all need guidance because I think all these people, we're all operating like when we do that, we're in pain.
Yeah.
And what does pain need? A loving place to like express itself. Yeah. And where can we do that? Not at coffee shops, not at like especially LA can seem and occur to a lot of people as like judgmental and image and fake. I mean, I'm from here, so I don't see it like that. I see it from my own
LA
different
is like
lens.
The OG LA is like New York. It's really funny because New York is like has a special place in my heart. But I found that like some of my ride or dies have just been like the LA ride or die is born here. It's sort of like this New York sensibility, like where they're really solid and ride or die, where they mean what they say what they do. And so
integrity,
yeah. And I found, but I mean, like you're talking about a lot of people that come to LA, you know, myself included, when, you know, now that I feel like I've healed a lot of that, you know, issues, father stuff or whatever, but I was always an artist. But I think like I can fully understand of a lot of people who come to LA searching for attention and will you love me? Like, daddy, do you love me? Mommy, do you love me? Am I enough? Can I, like, if I'm famous, if I'm successful, if I'm this, like, am I seen now? You know, and the funny thing about fame is, you know, it's you get to play the hero and the villain all at once. So it's like, I think that's why so many people, once they become famous, they have this like crumbling thing that happens because they're like, holy shit, I did not anticipate this level of scrutiny, you know, because that's what it is. Now if you're doing something great in the world, you know, and then now you're seen as kind of like a god to a certain extent. So then you're picked apart and then you have to maintain this high level all the time. And so it's just, you know, if you're a human, everyone's a human being. So it's kind of like, I feel like that person was fucking an asshole, so I'm going to be an asshole back. Like sometimes we just want to feel like being petty, you know? And I'm saying like that's maybe not our best selves, but sometimes it just happens. Like somebody's an asshole to you and you're like, fuck you, you know? And you're like, this is not my best self right now, you know? And then, wow. But I feel like...
And people move to LA and then their dreams don't happen and they become bitter and then they stay here. And it's like, that's the LA people are talking about. Yeah. It's not the actual artists that are like in it because they love the art. Like those are two different types of people that there's
But there is a crossover, I've noticed. Like there is a... Like I found that like a lot of the actors are... myself, like just, you know, where it's like you're real, like you're a real artist. You want to tell stories. You want to understand your world through storytelling, you know, and you want to move the human consciousness kind of forward for yourself. Like what I have found like with storytelling is that when you tell really powerful stories, it changes you and it changes the lives around you of the story that you're telling. And then outward, it continues to move outward. But sometimes that's not always the case because sometimes like a lot of movies are kind of like, wah, wah.
Yeah.
So
yeah, you never know what it's going to be.
Yeah. So, okay. So what were we talking about before? Right. Back up. So we were talking, originally we were talking about the mentality of, just kind of grappling with, I guess the whole idea of, LA and that kind of mentality. And I think it's kind of like a Peter Pan sensibility, you know, of like, and so I think that's why there's a lot of fuck boys because it's just brokenness of it's unhealed stuff, you know. So it's like, of course, that guy, for instance, was like looking, and my ex was also constantly looking for validation, and I could never have enough supply.
No,
like,
because it has
enough.
To come from within, and people are using each other to do something that's an inside job. It's impossible. If you're offering me a gift and I'm somebody that cannot receive, then no matter what you're trying to offer me, it will never resonate in my system unless I'm willing to allow myself to receive. Yeah. And so no matter the love I was giving that man, he couldn't feel it. He probably didn't believe me in certain circumstances. If I never feel enough and you're constantly showering, like I get people all the time on social media being like, oh my God, this changed my life. It doesn't always resonate in my system as like what they're actually saying. I have an internal thing that goes, yeah. Really? It doesn't actually land. And that's my own issues. That's like something that I'm working.
Receiving. So being in your feminine and receiving. So
that's hard for me.
I feel like your husband has been like helping though.
He's really helped.
And why is that hard?
My mother had a hard time receiving, so I think I just mirrored her.
And why did she have a hard time receiving?
From her childhood, I guess. Her mother didn't hold her for the first 3 months of her life because her mom had a kind of a mental breakdown. Wow. And she actually said this yesterday. She's like, I think my mom not holding me for the first 3 months was really challenging. She never said I love you to her daughter. So But the fact that my mom says I love you to me is a miracle. So it's just like you're better than the last generation.
100%.
My mother did amazing compared to her mother. And I'm probably doing better with my son than my mother did. And so I think that mixed with, as much as I'm obsessed with my father, I love him so much. He wasn't, anytime I wanted something, he's like, yeah, you don't need it. You don't need it. You don't need it. Yeah, you don't need that. So I just started convincing myself that I don't have not want anything.
Yeah, you have no needs.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And so I think that must have affected other places in my life. And so
you're like, I'm fine.
I've had to actively practice receiving and like celebrating all the good things. I also watched my dad downplay his achievements, and so I started to downplay my achievements.
This makes sense.
People are like, "Oh my God, you have millions of followers." I was like, "And who cares? It's none of it matters." I can be very like nothing matters.
I mean, that is true to a certain degree, because it's like once you finally get there, what I've noticed every time that you hit these benchmarks of like, finally, I'm living the dream. Yeah. I finally did it, and then you're like.
And then it's a new day.
Yeah, it's a new day.
On to the next.
On to the next, as if it never happened.
Yeah, it only means to you what you make it mean.
100%.
So people think before they have that million followers, they think it's going to give them this feeling, which actually you can generate in the moment anytime you want. Oh. If I want to have 3 mansions, I can close my eyes and imagine that I have it, and then I start to feel like, oh, this feels amazing. I'm so happy and grateful. I have 3 mansions, right?
I love it. So $100 million is my thing.
The thing is, oh yeah, nice, $1 billion.
$1 billion.
Mini me. Yeah, totally. Or like just like all the things that we want to manifest is just like imagining we have it already and really feeling it all over our body and being like so happy and grateful that I made $1 million today. Oh my God. And then like feeling it in the system. And then it's like your energy gets to a certain place where then all of a sudden it's magnetic to that force. That's why our belief systems are so crucial, because if we don't believe it and we're not acting as if it happened and we're saying we want, or like the language that using, all of these things matter in order to attract the things we say we want. And so it's all energy. Like for me, it's been all about energy. So like posting certain videos on a day where I feel a certain way, that has an effect. What I believe about the video, if I'm like, this is so stupid, this is dumb, usually doesn't perform well. It's really interesting how my energy will either like call in 40 million views versus like a flop. So isn't that interesting? I swear it's all connected. Sometimes it is what it is, but I've noticed.
Matt Rife was like, oh, this is stupid. And then that's when he went viral and his whole life changed. So sometimes there are these like, maybe it was him letting go of the expectation.
He doesn't have, that's true. Well, yeah, I guess it is the vibration of when you're making the video. So it's like when he was doing his essence on stage, it wasn't that. It was just the posting about it that, I don't know. So maybe higher power really is a lot more in charge than I'm even aware of, and I'm taking way too much responsibility for the energy type and the power of the algorithm. That's probably what it is.
Yeah, but I also want to know, like, I mean, this is the kind of stuff that we also like talk a lot about like visualization. And so, okay, wait. So how often do you get into that state of mind of, I have XYZ of, like, you imagine you're already having it and you're already living the life that you want. So how often are you experiencing that, and how often does that happen?
When I do it, it's daily, once on a walk, when I remember to. But then I'll like not for 2 weeks and I'll wonder why I feel like shit. When I do it, it's pretty awesome. Like I was at Erewhon.
Yeah.
And I saw Amy Poehler there getting a smoothie. And in my mind, I thought, I'm going to go talk to her. Oh my God, she knows me already. That's so exciting. And then so I walked over to her. I just pictured that. And I don't know if I was picturing the future or as if I was actually just like I was like, you know what the best thing would be is if she already knew me. Then when I go up to her, it could be an even better exchange. So I had that thought. I visualized it. Then I went over to her and she said, you're Manon Mathews. And I was like, you know me? She's like, yeah, you're hilarious. And I was like, you're hilarious. And it was just this beautiful exchange, right? And she said my name she knew me by name. That to me, that was like beyond what I was envisioning. But it was like such a quick manifestation right there in the moment. And I was like, I wonder, see, I still don't know. I don't know if I was picking up on if we're like so intuitive that we know that everything's already happened already and we just remember, like, I don't know how any of that works.
I think they're both, those things both exist. I think that's like you're seeing like a timeline. You're seeing like.
I'm like, did I see the timeline or I don't know. Or like if she didn't know me, maybe my energy wouldn't have felt so called to go over there. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I've always been curious about that, like which one comes first. But either way, I still do believe that we do create our reality with our energy. And I've had a million moments like that where I'm like, okay, the best outcome for this would be this.
Yeah.
Oh my God. And then I feel it as if it's happening and it feels so good. And even if it doesn't happen, I still get to feel that way.
Yeah.
That's the coolest part.
Yeah.
It's not, my energy isn't going to be determinate whether those things happen. It's just like, how can I continue to feel this way? Because I have a control over how I feel.
That's so true. That's so true. There's something.
So if I was really committed to it, I'd be doing it all day, every day. Like what's his name does. He talked to Conor McGregor or whatever.
Oh,
like his
really?
whole career is based off of him being absolutely obsessed with manifesting in that way.
Wow.
I don't know what he's up to now. I know not great things. I think he's going through some weird stuff. Someone messaged me. They're like, you follow Conor and you know he did this. And I was like,
he's going through a tough time. He's going through a tough time.
Well, before all that, this was like years ago. I remember there was like
I can't even keep up.
I'm not even on social media anymore. I'm like 45 days off social media.
Seriously?
I hired someone. They're posting for me. Yeah, because I was like, I can't do this anymore. I'd been thinking about it for like 5 years to hire someone to just post for me.
Oh my God, that's why I couldn't. I was just like, hey. And they're like, I didn't say this.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah. So now I first did 30 days like not even going on the app.
Yeah.
Now I'll just go to check messages. But I'm trying to
stay
off because I want to just continue to be a creator, not a consumer. And when I consume, I just go, my energy goes down. Because there's all those unconscious thoughts that are like, oh, that person's doing that. My energy just starts going.
See, I just go to the search bar.
Stuff?
Yeah, and
Good for you.
I look at all the memes, and it
That's
brings joy
great.
to my life. And especially if I don't like the algorithm, like if I clicked on like somebody getting hit by a car, and I'm like suddenly now there's like a bunch of people getting hit by. And I'm like, no, I'm like Taylor Swift, like I'm like I love the Eras tour. Like I haven't gone, but
that's great.
But it's like watching like her performances, or it's like Britney's content in her heyday of like a millennial girl,
the best. In sync.
Yes.
Yeah.
Or it is a lot of like Joe Dispenza and like what can I learn from? Like
I definitely have created my algorithm to be a lot of like mental health, beautiful quotes, so that it's like a safe space to go into.
Or like I'm learning lectures about like how to manifest, or really funny memes that just make me laugh hysterically. So
I love that.
Yeah,
that's very inspiring. That's very inspiring.
Because you choose your reality.
That's
so I'm like, when I don't like the algorithm, I'm like, I don't want any of this. So that
what about following people? Like, do you ever get triggered by the people that you follow? Like, if you see, I don't know, someone you haven't seen,
I'll unfollow them or I'll mute them.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean,
do you ever feel weird about unfollowing someone?
No.
Good for you.
I mean, if it's sort of like if they follow me, then I follow them kind of thing, like in good faith. But if it is, they have some really crazy content, we're friends or we've worked together and I'm like, whoa, I'm going to put this on mute. Because I don't want them to feel that, like I care about them, but I'm like, man, this is not, what I want to be paying attention to.
Yeah.
Or it's just sort of like choosing your own adventure, choosing your own reality,
I think I still have some people-pleasing stuff to work on.
Interesting.
I don't want people to be hurt that I don't follow them anymore.
Aw.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, like sometimes if they don't follow me, like I won't follow them. But if like, or, sometimes I will have to be like survivor of like, I just can't, and it's just kind of setting boundaries. I feel like,
But
it's I've had to learn that. Like that's like over time where, I'm in my no fucks 40s where you're just sort of.
You're in your 40s?
I'm in my 40s.
You look like you're 28.
Why, thank you.
Okay, so that's what it is. You're in your 40s. Okay, good.
Yeah, 42.
Okay,
I just turned 42.
Time.
Yeah.
When did you?
November 15th.
Aw.
Yeah.
Happy birthday.
Yeah.
A month ago.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's funny because I get hit on by like 27-year-old men all the time, and I'm just like, honey,
that's fun.
I'm like, Look, we're in a different, I just real talk. Like you're very
You
cute.
look very young.
Yeah. Well, thank you.
Very beautiful, very youthful. So that's awesome to know. Yeah, at 42, I hope to be there as well. I hope to be in a place where I'm like,
it's just kind of
like 5 people.
Because you start to realize like the friendships and the people in your life are there and the people that matter, and you really maintain those relationships. Those are the ones that are really, really important, and your family. And, but beyond that, you're just like, what I have found also, kind of through meditation or just through talking to God is sort of like the food, not even, Air One, the reason why it's so good because it's like they choose the best products. Yeah. They have like the real organic food, because I feel like when I go to Whole Foods, I'm like, why is this mango bendy? Like, what's going on with this? Like, what chemicals did they put on this?
And you see all their like foods, it says like seed oils and all that bullshit. And you're
yes,
like, what
everything
the heck?
is seed oil.
Yeah,
I know.
It sucks.
It does suck. And so Air One is like pretty great, but also it's not just the food that we put into our bodies, but it's also like feeding, our minds. Like, what are we feeding our minds with? Like, is this vibration of love? Is it fear? And am I, which wolf am I feeding? So it's like those kind of things. So,
and you'll know which one you're feeding by the way that you feel. If you feel good, it's because you're feeding the love wolf.
Yeah.
If you feel bad,
I love
then
that.
you're probably not having good thoughts. It's that simple most of the time.
No, totally.
Sometimes we complicate it, but it's like, I love the simplicity of it's either love or fear.
It's love or it's so simple. And I think those are the vibrations. And so I think I had a real sort of epiphany of, like, I always knew that, the movies we're watching, the music we're listening to, and how, like, I mean, there was a meme going around sometimes where it's like the music you listen to, like when Taylor Swift's, she suddenly all the women are like, we're in a breakup and we're in a happy, and I love Taylor Swift. But if you're like, sometimes it's like maybe listen to more of the happy songs versus like the breakup songs, so you're not manifesting and picking a fight. Like even my best friend who's also a Swiftie, she would like start picking a fight with her husband Mark. Shout out to Alexander, but like she would be like, "Oh my God, it's so crazy. I need to." Yeah. So it's like it's very.
We're always being programmed in every moment by music, movies. Exactly.
Do you know television is
television? Programming.
We're
being programmed because we are literal.
Yeah, you saw the same thing. We're on the same algorithm.
I mean, I don't even know where I heard that. Yeah, probably somewhere like that. Yes. I was just like, whoa, spelling. Whoa, they're putting a spell. Yeah, because we're literally just like computers. We have a conscious mind and an unconscious mind.
Do you write things down when you are practicing?
Yeah, I think that's a great way to do it. I also write down all my fears and to get rid of them.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wait, walk me through that.
Dear God, I have resentment at this person because I have fear they did this. I fear they did this. I fear this means this. I fear this means this. And I get all out until I get clarity, until I get back to the clarity. Oh, I fear I wasn't taking care of myself. It always comes back to where did I not take care of myself? Because then I get back to I'm responsible. God, please remove these fears. I pray only for knowledge of your will for us and the power to carry that out.
Wow.
So I just took an action to get rid of the fear and God to take it away and restore me back to the love.
And how long do you think how long does that take to happen?
Well, it could take years to get to the pen to paper.
Oh, yeah.
But when I do it, the writing can sometimes take anywhere from a minute to 5-10 minutes, depending on what I'm writing about. And
do you feel that it immediately?
Yeah.
Wow. So it immediately dissolves itself.
Yeah, not every time, but a lot of the time, I'd say I get to go to like, oh, even though I'm mad at them, I'm actually more mad at me because I participated in this way.
Wow.
And then it's like prayer to have God remove the fear.
And what are your fears? Like, what are your big fears that have driven your life, and how are you working to overcome them?
That's a good question. I guess the biggest fears is like not reaching the potential. Mm-hmm. Fear that I'm too lazy or that I don't have what it takes to go for what I truly want. Mm-hmm. That I rest on my laurels, which I know is not fear. It's not like, it's more of like, I like false evidence appearing real. So like, here's the evidence that I think I'm lazy, like fear that it won't be received, fear that I am not actually as talented as people think I am, or that I'm going to be found out, that people like that I'm not.
Imposter syndrome, really?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
You're so funny.
Thank you.
I mean, I know I can only validate, but you're so funny. Like, you're so funny. It's
you.
so good.
It's not that part. Funny is like, it's more of like if I audition or when it's somebody else's project, like I don't know how to really always go with that. Like the team. I can do it if it's me and a camera because that's like, I can't get it wrong. But once I start being a part of that, the bigger picture
you have
of
no
this
control.
film, I have
you
no
have to
control.
Surrender.
And
you have to surrender.
That's been a challenge for me. I mean, I'm completely different now, and I love working on sets and being with a team and like just being a part of it. But for a long time, it was hard.
Yeah.
And I was like, I can only control what I'm putting out there, and so this feels good. And yeah, it's like even with stand up, I haven't been as doing the work as like other stand ups, and so I'm like, oh God, it's gonna take all this time to get where I really want to go. Forget it. And that's the fear. To me, that's actually a fear disguising itself as apathy. So my fear doesn't always occur as like, ah! It occurs as like I don't care. Yeah, like it's 1,000 forms of fear.
It's literally inside out sadness.
Yeah.
Just, I don't want to.
Yeah.
Forget it.
What was the newer ones? Anxiety?
Anxiety.
That was cool.
That was
I wish I would have seen
amazing.
that when I was in 6th grade.
Oh my God.
I would have been like, oh, okay, cool. That makes a lot of sense. I'm definitely experiencing all of that.
All
okay,
of
so that's
that.
normal.
Yeah.
I felt so alone.
Yeah.
Felt like I was the only one experiencing those feelings, and I didn't know what to call them. I didn't know why it was happening, all the hormone changes, like everything.
God.
That was like the most validating film.
Yeah. Yeah, anxiety, where anxiety can actually serve you to a certain point and then past that point. Like I definitely have like a lot of anxiety, and it's like, it's a survival mechanism of, generations and generations of being the vigilant people outside the cave, being like, so sort of like I'm a nocturnal animal. I'm always like, where's the danger? Where's the danger? Where's the danger? And so sort of that, like, I come from Rollo, the Viking king, pirate ruler of Normandy.
Huh?
He was so there's like, I have that Viking pirate,
That's cool.
He was a warrior, I guess. So and they all, what's really interesting is that even that pirate like force of nature / having a boat has transferred to all the way down to my mom. So she loves being near the water. Like her father was a sailor. Like it was just, and you see the generations in the lineage and like going back where they all had ships. They like, and it's like fucking generations deep, So it's wild. There was a point to this story. Now I totally forgot it. Going back, anxiety. So it's like, so the anxiety can serve you in a lot of ways because probably that lineage
kept you safe.
And so sort
That's
of like
the whole point.
The sailors of doing really crazy, they were adrenaline junkies and just always adventurers. And so that the reason why probably that was passed down is because they had enough anxiety to not do crazy enough shit where they would die. Because probably the Darwinians, like, they would just be like, okay, wow, we're dead. They would, and so I think that was passed down, so it can serve you to a certain degree if you put it to work and you use it well.
Yeah.
But then it can be just absolutely debilitating, and then you're in a
fight, flight, or freeze state.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah.
Anxiety is a tough one. You ever do tapping?
I do tapping.
Love a good tapping.
Yeah. You do tapping? Is that how you help with your anxiety?
I do tapping.
I normally don't tap here, but I tap here.
Oh, you don't?
I don't. Yeah.
Love a good nipple tap.
My nipples are sensitive. Literally when...
no, it's good. If you don't know what it is, it's like you say, like, what
Yeah.
I love. Even though I feel anxiety, I wholeheartedly love and approve of myself.
And then you're like, I hate myself. I love myself. I hate myself.
Oh,
like,
I haven't done that.
Yeah, you do like both, sort of like your fears and your anxiety. So you sort of laugh through it too.
Oh, cute.
Yeah. I love this. If you don't know, it's very helpful to get back in your body if you're disassociating or if you're completely like, I just don't want to be here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just learned about it, I don't know, a year ago, right before a stand-up show. I was opening for Theo Vaughn.
I love Theo.
Oh, he's the best.
My God.
He's the best.
Are you going to have him on your podcast?
I haven't done stand-up. I hadn't done stand-up in a long time. And, he was like, if you want to do my show, come on. And I was like, I have to say yes. Because
what are you doing?
Yeah, I'm not gonna be like, I'm not gonna be like, no. So when I get opportunities like that, I'm like, yes, I will be there. But I hadn't done it in like a long time, and so I did some tapping before that show, and then I did that on stage and did it funny and tapped.
That's really funny. Yeah, I love it.
I
love it. And how'd that go? How was the show?
I think it was funny.
Oh, okay.
From what I remember. I think it was okay. It was a weird show.
Oh,
it was fine.
And where was it?
Improv.
Oh,
yeah,
cool.
Yeah, that was like before I was pregnant.
Oh my God.
So this was like 2 years ago. Oh my God, time is flying so much.
So,
I would have thought that was like a month ago. That was 2 years ago.
That's wild.
Yeah.
Time goes like,
yeah. And I want to do more stand-up.
Blink and then we're 60.
That's insane. That's like sad to think about that. But that's what it took for me to do stand-up. I keep thinking about it. So sometimes it takes these big comedians to be like, come on. And I'm like, yeah. And then, bleh.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, this is the year of, doing my special, getting that hour-long special and getting back into it because I love live performing. I love it with a passion.
It's so fun.
And so it's like, what's going on?
Yeah.
Is there a fear that I'm not knowing about?
So how do you conquer the imposter?
I have to go out at night. I don't want to go out at night. I have a baby.
But so how do you conquer the imposter syndrome?
Probably by learning about what you're. Probably, but like I was never good at school. I cheated. I felt stupid. Like once I hit 6th grade, I shut down. I went into freeze. I was shaking. I was hyped up on sugar all day, so I couldn't pay attention. I wanted to be liked, so I didn't even stand a chance to learn anything new. Mm-hmm. So like I went on for a long time with the story that just like I just don't know a lot of stuff that people are talking about. I don't know what they're talking about. Mm-hmm. So I get street smart. I know it's emotional intelligence. I feel like I'm pretty intuitive and I'm wise in the sense of like the brain and how it operates. But with like world events, I don't know what I don't know history. I don't know like a lot. There's like a lot that I don't know. And I guess the answer would be, well, learn it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But there's still that little girl that's like, I don't know how.
Aww.
So she needs help.
Help me, I'm
she
poor.
Needs a hug. Yeah.
Yeah. But I feel like you're continuing, I work on these modalities and rise above it. And, I feel like you're somebody who I think would produce and write. And I feel like at least that's kind of the lane that I've been in. And, writing and producing. And there's one that's been in production forever with this Oscar winner. I don't want to say, but he's like fucking iconic. I'll tell you after because it's not like fully out there yet. But yeah. And so it's sort of like, creating and writing, you have more of a say and you have, you're a creator.
Yes.
You're a writer, you're a storyteller. Yeah. So it's sort of like, I think the industry is in such a weird place right now. And so they don't know which direction to go in. They're like, oh, we need content. But they're like, let's tell a remake of a remake of a remake,
totally.
Because they want to not lose their jobs. They want to play it safe. So they're like, but then, the audience is exhausted.
There's no trust in that, is there?
No.
It's like everyone wants, like, just give the people what they want.
Yeah. But they're like, no, we're executives. We know what they want.
I think they're all operating from fear.
They're operating from fear.
Like, that's what I hear. I don't know what's really going on in the industry other than what you just said.
No, it is totally fear.
But that sounds fear-based to me. That's not like trust and like true creativity and like trusting the channels of these beautiful artists that have so much to say. And I'm sure there's so many beautiful scripts that are being waiting to be made. Yeah. I wrote one in 2016, still like, hello, let's make it, let's go.
Yeah.
So this is the year of that as well.
Great.
Or next year. We're not in the new year yet. I thought we were in the new year.
Fucking let's go.
Yeah,
Happy
I know. New Year. Or I don't know when this is coming out, so.
Well, yeah. And by the way, how was your trip to New York? How did you?
It was 3 days.
It was 3 days.
But it was marvelous because I got to sleep.
Oh my God, that's great.
No one goes to New York to sleep, but I did.
That's true.
I went there to sleep and it was amazing. I slept 3 nights in a row. like 9 hours each night.
Oh, that's
amazing.
glorious.
I saw a show.
Oh, what'd you see?
I saw Maybe Happy Ending.
Oh.
Darren Criss is the star. I don't know if you know who that is.
Sure. Glee.
Glee. Yep. That's how I knew him.
Yep.
And it was great. It was adorable. It was about an AI couple that fall in love or something.
Okay.
Two AIs that fall in love. It's cool.
Cute.
It's cute.
Yeah.
Got to go backstage, meet him, hang out, take pictures. It was darling. What else did we do? Walked around Bryant Park because it's magical Christmas time. I just love New York and Christmas time.
I love New York and Christmas.
It's the best.
It's the best.
But then once January hits, you're like, I don't want to.
No, it's so cold. You're like, get me
There's
out
no
of here.
decorations anymore. Everyone's like miserable. But that one pocket of time.
It's glorious.
Got some Levain cookies, even though they have it here now. It's just not the same
it's not
from
the same.
getting it in New York.
So,
what else did I do? Just walking, 20,000 steps, like every day. You're just like,
I know.
I had
you
pizza,
feel so good.
Just like, felt amazing.
Yeah. And so what do you want out of your, like, what is the thing that you do want to move forward? You know, what are the things that you want to manifest moving forward?
1 hour Netflix stand-up special.
I was going to say, like, you're like 1 hour of sleep. Oh. That's what I was expecting you to say.
Definitely an hour of, like 9 hours of
9 hours of sleep.
7 hours of, okay, what can I really manifest? 8 or 9 hours of sleep without being woken up. That would be,
yeah.
Oh my God, I think I would be a different woman. Like, this is Manon. When we see each other again and I've gotten sleep, you're going to be like, hello? You're here.
You're like,
I have all my energy back. Yeah. So that for sure. Continuing to be, a Netflix special and 1 hour stand-up special.
Yes.
Which is also like a variety show that's also happens to be very inspirational.
Oh my God, I love that.
Yeah, I intend to make my romantic comedy that I wrote finally.
You should just do that.
Yeah.
You should just film it and then sell it. Yeah. Just
Not
do
hard.
it.
Yeah. How much money do you think I need?
I mean, how much money do they put into specials? Because I feel like you
the special.
you film like you're there, you do the show.
I thought you meant the movie.
Oh, well.
So I should just film a special
and then try to sell it.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Because I feel like that's what they do, and then eventually they kind of sell it because you have to like kind of.
Oh yeah, Netflix doesn't pick it up. You
have to make the content,
that's
and then
cool.
They're like, great, we see it. Yeah.
Okay, so that's a lot easier than I thought. I don't have to like convince someone to do it first. I just have to like sell out
get
an
like
arena.
A show. Yeah, well, why the fuck not? No, but Dave Chappelle, he did the Comedy Store.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, you mean a long time ago?
Yeah, I think this was like 2017, 2018 or something. Wow. But there was like a 2-part. One was like an arena, but then the other was, and they generally don't have to be like an arena. Like it can be just like a theater, you know?
True.
So it doesn't have to, it can be like 1,000 people.
That just made it a lot easier.
Totally.
I was thinking. So that, the film, optimal health.
Yeah.
Like, you know, when I'm tired, I'm like, oh yeah, donut. What am I eating a donut? I know everything there is to know about sugar and what it does to the body and gluten and glyphosate. And I know all these things.
Oh my God.
But when I don't sleep, I go, fuck it.
No,
and I
same.
Just eat it all and I don't care.
If I'm hungover, the hungover food, you're like, you're already feeling terrible. Then you've already
lost.
You've already lost. Yeah. You're already
then
reaching
you need
for
salt. Yeah.
You're already reaching for like macro, like
yeah,
mine is fries.
Fries. Yeah, they're the best.
Oh God, so good.
Fry.
Yeah. I'll eat kind of healthy. Like I'll have like the salmon from, shout out to Petite Boucherie, which is like right around the corner from me in New York. But I'll have like the salmon dish and then he's like wrap it up. Yeah. And then I'll have my fries. But no, literally like the health is so important. And I realized I love that you're also on the health kick. Yes.
Of course.
Oh my God.
It's everything.
Oh my God. Can we talk about real quickly? We will wrap this up, but like, can we talk about what's happening in our government now that like, because both sides of the aisle are basically saying, I don't know if did you follow Luke Cook?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, he's amazing.
Who? Yeah,
he was also on my podcast. We were getting into the nitty gritty. I love him too. Everyone
he
loves
was on
him.
Max's podcast.
He was, and so I love Max.
Yeah,
and
I met Max when I first moved to New York in 2017. I lived in New York for like 18 months. That's where my marriage was. But I met Max there, and he's adorable.
He's so cute. Yeah, he's adorable. But
he knows a lot of things about food and nutrition.
He does, yeah. And so I find it so interesting that it's like, oh, thank God they're doing away with possibly red dye 40 or something.
The fact that it was even there in the first place is absurd.
What are we doing? Guys, what are we doing? Like Europe has
like,
none
don't you want to
those.
have an easier time with your children and you want these children, like set them up for success? The fact that they're being fed that, but the parents don't know either. It's not like they knew like this has red dye and red dye. It's like, let's just educate ourselves with these ingredients and what they actually do so that we can have it easier. Like America is obese because of the ingredients.
Yep. It's
not
killing
because,
our gut.
yes, and the portion sizes.
Yep.
Because of what they're spraying, the ingredients. Like, can our government have our back is all I'm asking.
Yeah. Do you know that the glyphosate or that, I think it's that particular chemical that they spray on all these pesticides comes from the Vietnam War when they were trying to, as a poison to kill people, as a chemical warfare.
Are you kidding me?
No.
I knew that it caused inflammation in the gut. And
So
that's why it's
they
not
used
necessarily gluten. It's what they're spraying on like that's more the issue than, I mean, some people have celiac, fine, but it's more of like what they spray. And they don't just spray it on gluten. They spray it on oats. Like it's everything.
Everything.
So we are just not safe. We are being poisoned.
Yeah, but isn't that wild? So that was actually for chemical.
That's really sad.
That's actually used for war to kill people. And so they thought, oh, we can distill this down and kill these weeds and plants and blah, blah, blah. So, and so I think that's like, well, literally like.
Okay, so I really should not eat bread or gluten or oats anymore then.
Unless you're in Europe, because they only use like 600.
The best.
I think it's like
you
600.
feel so different in Europe, don't you?
I don't get hangovers.
No, croissants.
Nothing. I can drink whatever. I can eat whatever. I don't gain.
I want to move
weight.
there.
I
it's
know.
the best.
I'm like, but
you
also
can eat any. Like I think when I went on my baby moon, I was pregnant and I ate croissants, pastas, whatever, pizza every single day, and I never got a stomach ache. I felt amazing.
It was amazing.
I can eat like one thing here and be like,
yeah,
what the heck?
Manon, you are amazing.
Aww,
I feel
so
like
you.
a kindred soul. Like we have a lot in common, and
I feel the same way.
I can't wait to chat more. And thank you so much for being on the podcast. And I hope, I know you will manifest all those things. I know you're going to have a Netflix special. You're going to be back here promoting it. And we're going to talk about it. It's going to be awesome. And so like in a year or two from now, like we'll just be like,
celebrating.
Let's do it.
Yeah. What are you calling in?
For this podcast to be successful, I just very small ask. I want to manifest $100 million, like a production company, and have all these projects be moving forward.
Amazing.
And the ones that I'm writing, producing, and I would be really grateful to have, to book. Like I came very close. Came so close to booking a Henry Cavill film, the Voltron. So it was something like that would be really cool to book like a role.
Yeah.
But I was pinned for that. So instead
I'm so sorry you didn't get that.
But it's like
I know, but still, to that part of you that really wanted it, I just want her to feel that I just love her.
Thanks.
I know what that feels like. It's so disappointing because it's not just the disappointment of that. It's the disappointment of the entire career. To me, that's what it felt like when I didn't get that thing.
See, I was actually, I looked at it differently. I was kind of like, wow,
She's
getting
in
close.
Denial.
I literally felt...
Yes, that's true.
I felt
true.
like
It was
I'm getting
whoa,
closer.
It must be right there then.
It's right there.
Yes, absolutely.
So I felt like, and we recently did this project that it's called Grief Looks Good on You, and it was the 24 hours grappling with me and my mom's, 24 hours after my mom's death, and so grappling with me and my best friend kind of contemplating my relationship with my mom and the complicated relationship and how much I miss her, how much I love her, how complicated it was, and sort of like that's the project, and hoping that that's successful in finding my man. You know? I think this year. Yeah. So
may it all come to you beautifully, easily, effortlessly. I see it all.
Well,
let me know how I can support.
Oh, well, thank you guys. Thanks for watching, and can't wait to see you guys soon.
Yay.
All right, guys. Well, if you like this video, please like.
Which I know you did.
Yeah.
Who wouldn't?
That's what I'm saying.
It's a good video.
It's a great
Insightful.
video.
5 stars.
Please, we want the reviews and the 5 stars.
Yeah, the reviews. Don't you love reading the reviews?
Yeah. I think most of the time they've been very lovely. It's been really cool. Yeah. Unless it gets really political, but I'm not really, I don't care. Like, I'm just like, I want to discover humanity and consciousness.
Amen.
Yeah.
Yeah, so follow.
Guys, follow, like, and subscribe. And do all the things.
Click the box so that the next episode, you don't miss it.
That's all
you
I'm
don't
saying.
want to miss it.
Don't miss it. Don't miss it.
Whole nother level.